Hello there and welcome to my Arty Corner here on YouTube. I'm Angela Porter, love to draw, love to encourage other people to draw and to share my thoughts and what I'm aware of in terms of my thoughts. Excuse the creaking of my chair as I move myself closer to my table. And hopefully to inspire. I'm not saying that everything I say is correct or that others will agree with me, but it's how I think about things. And you can take from it what you will. Thank you if you subscribed. I appreciate it so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. And with no further ado, I'm going to get on. Recording journal. I always leave the links in the box when I'm doing work for this, so that you can look to see how to make one for yourself, but the work transfers to other things. So at the moment, I'm creating a pile of pages in one place, as I've put these lengths of cloth here so I can put signatures in. Eventually I'll tighten these up, but I thought I wanted to draw on white today. I didn't fancy the grey or the tan today. I've only got the back of this one to do, but this one's got a few sides, but I just fancy doing something on white today. So I'm going to have a look at what I'm going to do here. First job, I'm going to wing this. I'm going to just draw I like a border to work within, or sort of like an area to work within. What I draw may spill out of this area, but it won't go right up to the edge. I don't know whether I'll draw a frame or not. I'm trying to work out where do I need to keep this so you can see what I'm doing. And I think I may end up filling this with just one pattern or variations on a pattern. And I'll start in the middle and I will zoom in. Okay, so I'm going to start with a nice big circle there. I'm going to put one inside, but I'm going to turn it into like a little seed. And then around this, I'm going to put 3 smaller circles. Now I'm going to join these circles to the centre point in a similar way to the tangle pattern well. So I'm going this way, then I'm going to move around and go this way, and then this way. In all of these I'm moving in a kind of clockwise direction. And if this circle there becomes that little bit thicker, I really don't mind. The next step I'm going to do is, normally you'd go like this with well, wouldn't you? But I'm not. I am going to start a little bit away. So I'm going to graze against that little seed there, that little bead. And I'm going to create that. That reminds me of the tangle pattern Fengle. So let's go to this one. I'll do the same thing. And I can already tell my distances for these seeds weren't exactly, evenly spread as in equilateral triangle, but I think it'll work just fine. Then I'm going to go back to these circles and I'm going to carry this line, the first one I drew, I'm going to carry it on so it folds back around, just to enclose those little beads there. Then, just check what I'm going to do next. Okay, I want to put some borders inside these, as it were. So I'm taking this is that original line that I drew there. So I've gone around here. This is that original line. I'm going to do the same here. This is the original line. I'm going to do the same there, like so. And then I'm also going to add a band inside these, like so. And then I've got some areas I can fill in with black. So I hope you're doing okay today. It's been a lovely sunny day here. Cold, but sunshiny. The sun has dropped below the hills and it's got a bit cloudier now. So it's feeling a bit cool in my room. So I'll need to go and put some heat on soon. Okay, so I've got this. And I do feel I may want to, just looking at what I can do here, because I feel this black is too close to the edge and it's almost like I want to put something around this. So I think I'm going to add a border around like that. The next one, I'll overlap this one a little bit here. And silly me, should have left a gap there so I could overlap it underneath, but it will be fine. So that just gives that bit of space to it, like this. I also think I might, yeah, that'll work for me. That makes me feel happier. Got lots of kinds of ribbons and edges going on here. So I've got this kind of knot kind of thing going on here, which is quite interesting. Well, I think it is, but that's me. So let's have a look. Let's do another one. So I'm going to start with that middle bit. And again, I'm going to put 3 of these like so. I'm going to join them together. Well, not together, but to the middle in this kind of fashion. Like so. And the same with this one. Go around like so. Then we're going to go from this towards that circle, or as I did it, I came this way because I can start here, graze that line, so I've got that little bit of blackness there, and just go around and complete that. Okay, so let's do the same here. Graze that circle and come around. I think I've just seen a way I can improve this, and I will show you that in the next one. Like so. We're going to carry these on that little bit as well, so they come back and over this edge here. So I'm going to fill these little bits in with black there. Do want to do these bits with black as well. But I think before I do that, what I'll do is I'm just going to, instead of trying to interlace them, I think I could just do an aura all around it. So some of these are going to be a little bit different, and I'm quite all right with that, to be honest. And in fact, I'm going to try something here, because this is quite a big section to fill in with black. So I'm thinking, I wonder if I could. Of course you can. Instead of filling it all in with black, we can do, what's that? It's that Zentangle thing, isn't it? Perk. It's okay, I'm having trouble remembering the names today. It's not me being facetious or anything like that. It's just me being, yeah, not quite in the right headspace. I'm going to put these lines in the same as I did on the other, so I'm going to start from the point and put a boundary in, or start in the middle, go to the point. And I just feel that finishes those bits off inside quite nicely. Quite like these perks there, you know. I can tidy up my edges. Okay. Right, let's do one more. Because if we can do this with 3 dots, we can do this with 3 dots around the central point, you know, the orbiting ones, we can do it with more, I'm sure. So I'm going to put one there, one here, and one about there. So I am going to connect them, as I've done already. I think I'm going backwards compared to what I've just done. So I'm going, yeah, check you're going the same way round. It's often why I don't move my paper particularly. But what I'm doing is I'm checking to see the previous one, okay, it's going that way, so I need to carry on going in this kind of direction. So that's my sort of like start of this. And then what I'm going to do for this one is I am going to graze this. I'm going to go up, but I'm going to circle around that circle. I'm going to do the same here where I'm going to go up, around, and I'm just going to circle around that circle. And then the same here, I can graze this and go up and around, and I've got that one there, but that's okay because unless somebody looks really closely, they won't notice what I've done. So I'm going to just fill these little bits in with some black. And then, rather than start the triangle shapes right at the top there, I'm going to start them just a little bit down. And let's see how this works. I like that. That makes me happier than the other way, because I'm creating a distinct shape inside these areas. Like so. Now I do need to, well, I could carry these on, couldn't I? I could. Or I could just aura around this, and I think that's what I'm going to do, but I am going to add some ink here where these, to smooth that little bit out here, just this little bit there. And then I can have a smoother using a Zentangle term aura. Hopefully they won't mind. Like so. Okay, I've got lots of gaps between these, but you know, I'll be able to sort that out afterwards. Now, if we can do this with 3 dots around, and I've got slight variations in each of these now, I bet you we can do this with more. So I'm going to do it with 4 dots, and I'm going to make the dots nice and chunky this time. So I'm repeating the idea of that little seed inside a big circle. I'm saying seed rather than an eyeball. What can I say? And we're going to do the same with this, where we're going to connect these in that kind of way, like well. And there. Then we go back, trying to figure out how did I do it. I did it that way. So I'm going to start here by going around. And I've left a little gap there so that I can go around and just follow along that line. The more you do patterns, the more you get a feeling for them, and you see, okay, that would be a good idea if I did that. So you can see I've left that little bit of a gap there so that when I go around that this way, it makes a nice, neat area where I don't have that crossover. Trick is remembering how to do this the next time I do this pattern, because I've got a sneaky suspicion I will do this from time to time. because I do like these kinds of shapes. So this one can just go back down like that. So these parts that are, you know, these fengly kinds of shapes, they are really they're much skinnier than the other one, which you'd expect. But I'm going to treat these the same way because I really like popping this kind of shape inside them. And these open areas in between them, or inside these sections, are just ripe for adding more pattern to, and I'll come back and do that afterwards, I think. Now this little space here, I could leave it as it is, but I could put another circle in there, but do you know what? I just think I'm going to fill it in black so I have some contrast here. So black helps to connect everything. It's a bit like the lead in stained glass. And we need to keep all of these bits together. Now my next conundrum is, what do I do next? Because I could take this. Oh, that'll be interesting. If I take this and go up and over, okay, and then I can take this and go up and, oh gosh, that was a wobbly one, over. I can follow this line through and go around, and then the last one I can do the same with. So that finishes that off in a different way to the others. I think that's what I was trying to get to with these, but I just didn't get there. So perhaps I ought to do one of the three pointed ones in that fashion. I think I'll have enough space here. So let's go and do this. Let's go back, down like that, and then around like this. I shall then, how did I do that? Oh, that's right. I went, did I? I don't know. I've now lost the plot with these ones. We'll have a look now. Let's have a look at this and see if just filling in the pattern will help me understand what I need to do. Really have lost the plot here. Okay, just doing that. Alright, so what I did here, right, yeah. It's the outer bit here, and I think we went over. Oh, we went over. Oh gosh, that's not going to make any sense. Is it? Or is it? It would have if I'd... Ah! Perhaps it's around and down to this. No, that's not going to work. I've lost the plot with this one, so forgive me for being dim here. I just can't see how I can make it work to get that kind of... Oh gosh, I can't even get my pen to go the right way now. To get this kind of weaving over to give that border around it. But perhaps this will work. I'll go over that way. So I'm leaving a little gap there to go over. Oh, that one's not quite right, but they'll be fine. There we go. And put some black in the centre. So that'll be fine. So we can do it with 4s. We can also do it with 5s. It will work with any kind of colour. And I think I've seen what I might have done wrong. It's not bringing it back round the way I did here, is that where I curled this around. Yeah. I can see now. I can. Now then, I do want to do something to fill these in, and there's lots of ways of doing that, I'm absolutely sure. My head is going to putting all kinds of things in between them. My head is now also fried a bit because I'm going, how could I not understand how to do that after doing it once? It's like anything, isn't it? It's that it's a skill. It's something you need to do again and again and again until you go, ah, got it now. And I don't have the space to do it again and again and again here. But I do want to do something here that will allow me to connect these. And I think what I might do to begin with is just start to join these together with very narrow, sort of like beams or planks of wood, like hollyball, because it will create a kind of scaffold or a weaving, a very random woven pattern, but it will do that here, and it will then fill some of the space up between these individual bits. They don't all overlap, I'm fine with that. And then I can work on what I do with the rest of the space. So let's have a look here. Sorry, I've just gone quiet. My head was thinking about something else. Not to do with art. Which is odd, because normally I'm quite focused on my art. Don't really, sort of like wander off to elsewhere. So, yeah. There's a lot going on at the moment, as I keep saying, or I have been saying for the past few videos. Past couple anyway. And I'm not prepared to say yet, maybe never, I don't know yet. But it's all to do with me and discovering more about myself, and like everything, when you start finding out more about various things, it can throw up a lot of stuff from the past, and the way you look at things changes as well. So it's an interesting journey for me, even if it's a bit of a troublesome one emotionally and mentally at times. But I'm fine. I've got through worse than this before, I guess. So I'll be fine. I'm just looking at this to see, okay, have I got some interesting, the edges between all of these, how do they connect in this kind of fashion? And I think here I might actually look at putting ones, go across here. So I think that will finish that quite nicely, except I want another one here, because that space in between is just too big, and perhaps one more that will go, that's better. Down here, well, it'll just graze there. That'll work quite nicely. So I've got some interesting shapes here and edges. Could do the same here. Well, I'm looking at how I can create a nice sort of like connection between these. So I'm looking at drawing from that slope down, or that line down, so it looks like these are beginning to flow off those lines. So perhaps I can do the same just here. and maybe some here. That'll do. See, I want to go there now. I'm guessing I could fiddle with this forever and never be happy. So I'm going to have to make a judgment call at some point and go, actually, that's not too shabby. This is a bit, you know, it's I would say it's the function of it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in. And yeah, I've got a big hole there, but I'll have to learn to live with that one. That makes it a bit smoother. Okay, so I'll zoom out so you can see what I've done in its entirety. It's interesting, but I do want to do something with these sections around here. And I'd like to, part of me wants to use something, a pattern or a design or a motif that would be quite different to what I've done. And part of me goes, well, I need to tie in some way, I need something that runs through everything that's in the book here. It's my accordion journal. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to first start by adding some auras that start roughly on my pencil border and go up to the pencil border on each section, because I just think that will give me a start. It will help to separate those woven planks, the holly-ball pattern, from whatever else I do. And I'm not being precise about where these start against the line. Some of these auras are a bit thicker than others, but again, I'm fine with that. It's going to be what it's going to be here today. And I come back then and I finish there. So that gives me that bit of breathing space around them. But then I've got these lovely sections here that I can work in. This one I'm so wanting to do this. So I'm doing just very tall, rounded topped, I don't know, petals or things. So I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I forget to zoom in, I'm sorry. And then I forget to zoom out, so you miss bits. You can't, or I forget where to check where my paper and my pen is. I'm trying to get back into the habit of this. Okay, so something like that. But what I want to do with these is, often I'd put a line at the bottom, but what I'm going to do with these ones, just going to put a dot towards the top to give that extra bit of black darkness, which may suggest they're beginning to curl over. Only a suggestion, they're not actually. Could have changed the shape of them or bent them a little bit. I've got this section here, and I think what I might do here is I've used this repeating pattern elsewhere of triangles, which is Tripoli, I believe, in Zentangle terms. But I don't draw around a triangle, sort of like start with one triangle and go round until you've got 6 altogether and then veer off on the edge of one. I find that just way too confusing. So I draw mine like this. So here, next row, I'm going to start by drawing triangles on top of the, I'm going to use the longer lines here to draw the next, well, triangles that point upwards. And then what I can do there, in between, I'm going to do one here. And in between then, I can draw the triangles that point downwards. And I'm starting by drawing the line between them so I can get my spacing okay. They're not going to be perfect. Today, trust me, nothing is getting done perfectly. But the next row, start with those lines again. So on this row, we're looking at the triangles that are pointing down, and above them, we're going to have triangles pointing upwards. And this may be a bit more perfect, say, than Tripoli, but it still goes in all kinds of random ways because that's the nature of the pattern. So here I'm just going to pop this there, and because they go underneath this aura, we'll have some that are just partially drawn, others will be almost completely, and there's me changing how I drew that one, didn't I? Same here, we're going to do these. That's a part one. That one will go under. We'll have one there. We'll have one there. And just the tip of one there. So that adds some interest there. And I may just put some up here because then that will look like this carries on underneath these in this direction. So I'm going to start with my edge here. I'm going to draw the ones that point upwards first, because I'm starting with my lines this way. And then I'm going to draw the lines in between the points, leaving a roughly equal gap, and then I can draw the point of the triangle down to fit in between it. This just makes my life so much easier, this. Honestly, kid you not. So there's one there, and then we'll have one going there, and then up like that. There we go. So that carries on underneath. And then on this side, what could I do with these? I could carry on with, fill these in with some of the same patterns. I am tempted to put this one. Actually, I think I might use these ones in here. So I'm just going to start by drawing them this way. Then I can carry on down. So this looks like these are the same kind of layer as the ones on the other side. There's lots of layers going on here. The next challenge is, how do we bring these layers out? The answer is, I'm not entirely sure at this point in time. My head hasn't got that far. Okay, let's have a look. I did go out for a walk today and I remembered to put sunscreen on. I went out for brunch yesterday, it was really sunny. Forgot to put sunscreen on, and even though on my face, just on my face, even though I was only out in the sunshine, the light, for a while, I've had an eruption of rosacea, which is all like, it looks a bit like acne, but it's not acne. I get all these red spots come up on my face and my skin goes weird. And so I've had to go back to using the rosacea cream. Luckily I've got some. And that should quieten it down, but I have to wear at least factor 50 when I go out in daylight, even on a cloudy day in winter, believe it or not. And I always forget because it's cloudy. Oh, I don't need sunscreen, says my head. My skin is screaming at me, yes you do, but my head ignores it. So happy days there then. And I go, oh, wish I'd remembered, but it's okay, we'll be fine. Okay, so hang on, what am I doing here? There, and just a little bit there. So that is my lot today for that. I'll zoom out, like so. I am going to pop my initials somewhere. I think I'll just have them hanging off here. And now I've got to try to decide what I do next. I'm not entirely sure. Genuinely. I could use watercolour, I could use Inktense. I could use Graphitints, I could use charcoal or chalk pastels. Chalk pastels, I saw them. I have, is that them there? No, that's the drawing pencils. Do I want to use those? Okay, so let's go for Graphitints. Let's hope I can find, oh, have I got a water brush? Don't be silly, Angela, of course you haven't. Okay, I have water though. It's a bit mucky, but it'll be fine. And I need a brush, so I've got a brush. Okay, colours. I don't want black. Grey could be nice. What's that one? Shadow is really nice. It's a nice deep blue. So I'm ignoring the lines I've drawn completely here, because I just want to get lots of shadow underneath this border. I want to put this well behind this edge here. So let's start with that. Graphitint pencils are coloured graphite that's water soluble. So some of the graphite will remain behind and some of it will shift. And I think if I can find, yeah, I've got one of those things here. I should be able to just, oh, well, I would be able to if I hadn't got, for some reason I've picked up a brown one here. It is what it is. We're going to get weird colours going on here, but I can pull some of the graphite down so that we'll get that blended out. And let's have a look then at this and see how this works. More water, Angela. There we go. Need water to activate the coloured pigments. I think I need a bigger brush for this. I'll get that next. Actually quite like that hint of brown there, surprisingly. Ends up looking a bit on the rusty side, a bit grungy. Don't mind a bit of grunge. Coloured grunge rather than just graphite grunge. I've said often enough I'm not a fan of using graphite for contrast. Oh, that's a lot of water. You'll be fine. Now if I want more colour here, I'm not going to dip the pencil in. I'm just going to use the wet brush to pick the colour up. And then I can add some more colour where I'd like it. Bearing in mind that the water will reactivate what's there already, so we don't want to spread it out too far. But where I want to put some extra depth in, I can. If I'd used Inktense pencils, I could have let it dry and go back in with another layer. But that kind of works. That makes me happy-ish. Well, not too bad today, put it that way. Okay, Angela, time to get a different brush. Try for one of your favourites, girl. That one could be a bit on the big side, but we'll make use of it. So, I'm not going to use that tortillon to spread maybe some graphite out. I'm just going to do it that way. Yeah, that one's much nicer. Smaller area, that's the difference. Okay, so that works quite nicely. And I think I'm going to do the same kind of idea underneath these for the Tripoli and so on, and just see what happens. What I might do with the Tripoli actually is to put this graphite right the way around this section, so it will end up looking like it sort of like bulges upwards in the middle, so we'll have shadow around the outside edges, particularly underneath that high upper. Oh, nice one, Angela, well done. As I throw my pencils everywhere. Drop two in the bin. Rescued. Okay, try again. Tell you, everything's conspiring today. I'm so clumsy as well. This'll be fine. Now, whether I finish adding shading to all of this is, you know, pure conjecture here. You may have to put up with an idea of what I'm going to do. I'll definitely do these sections, and it may be that in the centre those motifs I started with will end up done at in a different, do one and apply the same kind of idea to all the others. So that looks a little bit like it bulges up. Yeah. Okay, we'll do this one here in the same fashion. So I'm putting plenty of the Graphitint around there. Now, obviously, if you haven't got Graphitint, don't go out and rush out and buy them. You could use anything you've got in your stash to colour with. You could use the same idea with graphite pencils and a tortillon, watercolours. It's about where you put the darkest colour, coloured pencils, chalk pastels. It's all about where you put darkest colour. Oh gosh, well done, Angela. Yeah. Do I ever think about what I'm doing? Sometimes no. Today I don't think I can talk and work at the same time. But it's where you put those shadowed bits that helps with the shape. And I may come back to these and put some darkness along the edge to tie in with these bits. So, and like with all things, Zentangle, like this, part of the key to this is repeating what you do in one area in the others so that it creates a pattern and that things are cohesive. It's like they belong together. As I if I'm quick, I can pick up any extra colour from the centre of these sections. Along the edge, I'll clean it up eventually, maybe. I really am clumsy today. Don't know why. There's a lot of, as I told you, there's a lot of stuff going on in my noggin, my head, my brain box, and with emotions, and it's having a knock-on effect on a lot of other things. But nothing to worry about, as I say. Emotional weather. There, that's not, actually that doesn't look too bad. That really does look like we've got, move it down a bit. You can see that really does look like this section is sitting on top of all of that, doesn't it? I'm not, I think I do need to put some graphite along this edge, to be honest. And this one. Just trying to get plenty in there so it's nice and dark, so it looks like it bends downwards. So it's going into the shadow as well. So it's using the same ideas as I've done for those Tripoli sections then, so it ties in and doesn't look out of place. So there's that one. Just slightly darker along that edge. I think I'm going to need to just move some that way. I'll do the same here. Activate the pigments. Clean my brush a little bit so I can just move the edge out and blend it out. Actually worked quite nicely. I'm impressed myself. What I think I want to do with the holly ball here is I'm going to want to spend some time filling these sections in between them with black ink, and that then will allow me an opportunity just to tidy up some lines and so on. And eventually, once I've done this, I'm not going to do it all now. Might put some white dots in there to make it look like we've got a night sky, or maybe gold. Could be gold. Maybe. We'll see. Just go there. There's a bit there. If I do a little bit of a section, you can see perhaps what I'm talking about here. So that's oh, I shouldn't have coloured that bit in. Oh well, tough. Done now. It's what it is. I really haven't got good hand-eye coordination today, let me tell you. There we are. We've done the whole of that this particular section over here. I've got some really grotty lines, but we'll be fine. I'm going to do is I'm just going to thicken that line as well. But that helps to bring that pattern out. You've got high contrast there. What about these in here? Well, I want a different colour. I think I might go with port. I've used port elsewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the port at the base of these triangular sections here. So I'm going to have that quite intense in colour. And I'm going to put a little bit towards the tips so that we get some darkness there. Get my brush, which isn't sopping wet, but it's not dry either. Just wiped the excess water off on the side of the jar of water. Then I can use that to create quite a nice gradient colour here. So I want to pull a little bit of the colour out so I get it fading towards a highlight somewhere down the middle here. But I want the rest mainly to stay close to the bottom where they overlap. So I'm pushing the colour back that way, as well as perhaps bringing a little bit more out this way, like so. Okay, do the same here, just bring that down, pick some of this colour up, use it to fill that in, to keep that quite light. Activate this, keep it nice and dark down there, and then I can always spread it out a little bit. Gee, that will be quite nice. That's quite a nice contrast, I think, with that steel grey colour. So, and it helps to bring out the shapes of these. So I'll just do one more. Sort of conscious with time because I most probably will go to Tracy's Tea and Tangle tonight. Tracy Goff. Hoff, not Goff. I don't know where I get Goff from. Tonight, which will be after most probably this is uploaded. Well, by the time this is uploaded, processed, uploaded and everything, it must probably be the Tea and Tangle time will be done. But if you're interested in that, I'm sure she won't mind you getting in touch with her. I'll try and remember to put a link to her in the description box. But if you just search for Tracy Hoff, Houghchczt, on Facebook, you'll find her for Tea and Tangle. I must probably get you there. So that look, I quite like that. I do have a thing for these brownie colours, I do have to say. This isn't very smooth, but perhaps pick up a little bit more of that colour and just move it. And you can see how it lightens as it dries, which I quite like as well. Around the outside, I do want to put something there, and I think I might go back to the shadow. And this one's dried, so I'm all right to use this on the edge. I'm going to put some at the start or each end of these auras, just a bit. So I want that darker shadow where they naturally overlap, and keep the rest of it fairly light. So let's pick a brush up. And I think just by doing that, it's not going to be as dark as the background sections. Well, it won't be as dark as long as I clean my brush off from time to time. And once it dries, it'll have a bit more of an almost metallic look, hopefully. Now, I could work on bringing that metallic look out. I picked some of the brown, or the reddy brown from the port up then. It's fine. I think it's such a tiny amount, when it dries you won't even notice it. That's my hope anyway. But because these are always water soluble, I can always clean and tidy it up. So that's added a bit more contrast there. And these dots and around there, I'm so tempted to do some gold, which I might just do putting some in. I'm not a big fan of gel pens, but when it comes to adding little bits of things like this, and I'm also going to put a dot there over that white bit. So we've got some nice golden shine going on. I quite like that. I think I'd do that with all the others as well. Let's have a look at this one. So if I do that here. Oh, shouldn't have done this before I add the rest of the stuff, because this will react with water. You can actually paint with the ink from these gel pens because they are water reactive, water soluble. It's quite fun to do, and the metallic Sakuras as well, metallic and so on, all the Sakura jelly roll type pens. And I find that quite fun from time to time. But I think the pens are downstairs, so I'm not going to go hunting for them now. I think the box of them, I took them downstairs when I was unable to work at my desk, and I was using them there. I haven't brought them back upstairs, so I'm just going to add the shadows on this, where in the same kinds of place as the others, and then just wet this, and then that'll give you an idea of how these will look. The outside bit where the aura is, I'm not quite sure what I'll do with that yet. I'll figure that out, maybe. I think my brain has got to its limit for here and now, so need some tea. I'll probably need to think about feeding myself something. What exactly I do not know, but I'm sure I will get there. So there's two of them. So I said that on these black sections, what I'm going to do, I could put white stars there, but I think I may as well make use of gold. It's almost like we're looking through some kind of crazy glass or glazing out into the universe. Some crazy kind of skylights. You can see gold. Just catching the light. I'll complete this eventually. I know what colours I've used, I won't forget. And I'll show you the end result when I do finish it. But as you know, I've got quite a few things now in my... Let me move that pot of water out of the way before I throw it somewhere, because I'm being clumsy today, and the pencils. I've got quite a few in there. I'm finding it hard at the moment to settle to work, to get work done, to know what to do. I'm in between. I'm sort of like finished one contract. I've got a while before the next one. I've got other projects I want to do, but getting myself motivated to do them. Everything. It's been a few months of just one thing after another, but we'll get there. This, though, I will get done, and I will show you when it's done. It's going into my accordion journal. I don't know what this pattern is called. I have no idea whatsoever, even if it has a name. It's a sort of variation on Well, I think. It's not Fengle, really, because Fengle works, I think, a bit differently. I could be wrong on that one, mind you. I'm sure I've drawn this before somewhere. It was probably in Fragments of Your Imagination or the Inktober Tangle Pattern Challenge as a variation of something. But I quite like the way it's sort of like it's lifted up and above the more grey sort of like structure behind it that seems to be supporting all of this glasswork. And we've got this view out into the universe. Now tomorrow, I don't know if I'll get a video out. Today is Tuesday the 7th of February 2023. I have got a funeral to go to, and I've got some adulting to do before that, because I've got to tidy my house out and stuff. I've got a couple of food deliveries around from different places tomorrow and what have you. So I'll see how I get on. But Thursday there won't be one because I've got a visit. That's why I'm adulting tomorrow. I've got a friend visiting in the day. And Friday I've got another funeral to go to. It's later in the afternoon, but I'll have to see how I am. And I may not get to that funeral because by Thursday I think I might be peopled out. It's been busy. I'm not used to being around people, as in actual physically there. And it's very draining for me. I'm exhausted and I can't sleep because my brain's going 19 to the dozen about stuff. But we shall see. But I'm definitely going to the funeral tomorrow because it's local and I can have my walk, my trying to get daily walk, working on daily walking. And one today was lovely. Birds were great. So I'm wittering. I am. It's just dribbling out of my mouth today. I hope you have fun with this one and you find a way to use this pattern. I really like the one that's got the 4 arms on it. I like the 3-armed ones, but I like that 4. 5 is going to be fun to do. I really enjoy having a go at 5 at some point. Maybe I'll do that inside on the other side at some point. So I'm wittering again. Take care. Find time to be creative. And thank you for joining me. Ta-ra for now. Oil.